For this review of Danganronpa 2, I will not be repeating anything that is similar in Danganronpa 1, which you should watch my Danganronpa 1 review before watching this video. Okay, well anyway, so in terms of the gameplay, there is no react mechanic like there was in the first game, and the trial minigames are slightly different in some cases, especially in Hangman's Gambit, where you have to catch and release your letters and then either get rid of them or add them onto the list. It can be a little confusing about how to figure out how to do that one. But anyway, it's not that much different, so I'm just going to skip to the new mini games. So we have Rebuttal Showdown. That's a new one. It's kind of like the non-stop debate. It's kind of like a combination of the non-stop debate and the bullet time battles. Except, so you'll have a bunch of words flying at you. You have to use your sword to cut those words in the direction, your sword can only cut in certain directions, so you have to make sure you cut in the right direction to be able to hit the words. And eventually you'll see the statement that you have to cut using your truth blades instead of truth bullets. Once you cut that, Hajime will say, "Let me cut through those words." I love it. Anyway, so the only other different or new minigame would be the logic dive, which is introduced in Chapter 2, later on in the Chapter 2 trial. And what you do in this logic dive is basically you play a little snowboarding game or skateboarding game, whatever you want to call it. You have to navigate a course using it's either a snowboard or a skateboard, I don't know. But you go down a track, avoiding obstacles and jumping over pits and stuff like that. When the game asks you a question, you have to go down the right path to answer it correctly. And beware, because if you get it wrong this time, there will be no comedic comments. And then, yeah, so that's it for the minigames. That's all that's changed. I personally love Logic Dive. It's my favorite minigame out of all of them in the series. And now we can move on to the characters, because everything else about the game is the same except for the characters and the story. So, we have Byakuya, who turns out to be an imposter. He's the ultimate imposter, except this imposter seems to maintain a significant amount of weight compared to the real Byakuya. And this imposter seems to be more sympathetic towards the other students than Byakuya actually was. He actually feels a sense of responsibility in protecting them. Then we have Taro Taro, who is a horny bisexual cook, and he is also trying to be an aspiring chef, but is not actually a chef. Mahiru is an anti-feminist photographer. What by that I mean, she seems to enforce the ideas against women being independent. You know what I mean?
like this for a while.
But she also seems to want a female leader still. She tells people to be more of a man and to protect the women. But she also wants Sonia to be the leader instead of Byakuya. So I don't know what the deal with her is.
I'm gonna showcase my full cooking ability.
Oh, if I didn't mention the murders, by the way, let me bring those up again. So Teru Teru killed the imposter Byakuya by accident. He was actually trying to kill a character I'm going to talk about later named Nagito.
Should I begin with a brief introduction of myself?
Then we have the next person I didn't mention is Peko, the swordswoman and Yakuza hitwoman, who is the one that ends up killing Mahiru. For another character who I'm going to bring up later called Fuyuhiko. Ibuki is a cheerful musician. Can't really say much more about her. A lot of people like her though. Hiyoko is a foul-mouthed traditional dancer. Mikan is a timid nurse. Her character seems to develop in the game due to unpredictable factors, but really her character is not any different than anyone else's. Nekomaru is a loud coach, and later, when he's injured almost fatally, he is turned into a robot. Next is Gundam, the D&D addict with hamsters. He's pretty funny sometimes, his dialogue. And I love his voice too.
Is that you? Why are you
Nagito is the smart and lucky hope addict. Probably my favorite character in the whole series.
You should have already disappeared. Oh well, it doesn't matter anyway.
He helps out with the class trials a lot. Then we have Chiaki, who also helps out with class trials a lot. She's also smart, except she's a gamer girl. Akane is the dumb gymnast.
I've had enough.
Sonia is the foreign emo princess. Kazuichi is the dumb mechanic. Fuyuhiko is the Yakuza leader, who is childhood friends and in love with Peko.
Hey, you don't want that either, right?
Hajime is an average student, not ultimate, but ends up getting brain manipulated by the school into the ultimate hope. And here comes the story. Another class in the Ultimate High School live out their school lives for a couple years until Junko corrupts the class, including the teacher Chisa, which you only see in the anime. The survivors from Danganronpa 1 capture that class and Hajime, put them into a simulation, wipe their memory of the school, and try to redevelop their brains. Just take note that, as the anime says as well, supposedly there was also an ultimate animator that existed in that class, but we have no idea what happened to him. And the ultimate imposter seemed to have taken his place in the class. Okay, so earlier, Junko earlier before getting into the simulation, Junko convinces Hajime to install a virus into the simulation that makes a virtual Monokuma, aka Junko, appear to start a new killing game within the simulation. After there are not enough students left To shut the simulation down properly, Monokuma initiates the graduation ceremony. Junko intends to transfer her AI self into the brain-dead bodies of the killed students. Makoto, Byakuya, and Kyoko enter the simulation to get enough votes for the other option, which is to shut down the simulation. Shutting down the simulation means everyone who died stays dead, the new survivors revert back to corruption, and Hajime goes back to being his brain-manipulated and corrupted self. With the power of Chiaki's memory, Hajime manages to will into existence and execute a different option. The simulation is shut down, but the new survivors lose their corruption and Hajime loses his brain enhancements somehow? Well, anyway, that's it for the review, so stay tuned for more. I do recommend this game, by the way. Thanks for listening and thanks for watching.